Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Myself Dr. Sumeet Patil, and I make videos upon English literature, its history, its social, political and economical background. So today I am going to talk about a very interesting age in the history of English literature, which is also called as the Golden Age. And if you all know what or which period is called as the Golden Age, which is none other than the Elizabethan era. Now, when it starts, who is the queen, and what are the important writers, which are the important writers who have written during the Elizabethan age, that I am going to focus upon in this video. But before starting this video, I would like to highlight a few points that you all should go and visit on my YouTube channel, and you all must watch those videos so that you will get idea what I am talking in this video. So the first and the foremost video you must watch, that is upon Anglo-Saxon period, and thereafter Anglo-Norman period, thereafter Middle English period, then Age of Chaucer, and then Age of Revival. Then comes this period wherein I would be right now talking about, that is the Elizabethan literature or Elizabethan age in the history of English literature. Now, coming to the Elizabethan age, now who is the queen? Now, as you all know, or if you don't know, the most famous queen in the history of English literature is none other than Elizabeth I. She came to the throne on 1558 and she ruled till 1603 when she died. Now, this era is also called as the Golden Age, as right now I pointed out. Now, this era is, or this age from 1558 to 1603, it is called as the Golden Age because during this point of time, or this years, these decades, so many great writers, they were born, they wrote many dramas, many poems, which became world famous. And during this age only, the most greatest dramatist was born in Stratford upon Avon, that is none other than William Shakespeare, who is also called as the greatest dramatist of all time. Apart from William Shakespeare, there are also so many great dramatists and poets that I would be highlighting. But once again, coming to the Elizabethan age, why this age is called as the Golden Age. Now, before this age, which I told you that you must go and watch those videos, that is Anglo-Saxon. Now, what has happened in Anglo-Saxon, Anglo-Norman, Middle English period? These years, that is Anglo-Norman, if I speak for a minute or two, in the Anglo-Saxon period, what has happened is Romans left Britain in 410 AD. Then from 410 AD to 1066, the rule in Britain was those people who were ruling, that is Anglo-Saxons and Jutes. These people were ruling. They ruled till 1066 during the period 1066, during the Battle of Hastings. William the Conqueror, who was from France, they won the battle between France and England, that is Britain. And then thereafter, it is the age is called as the roughly around 200 years or so, it is called as the Anglo-Norman period, wherein the French ruled Britain. Thereafter, when French left and when this Tudor monastery, or we can say the house of Plantagenet, that is House of York and House of Lancaster, they came and they sat on the throne. And William the Third or Henry the First, they all sat on the throne, and this legacy started. So this was the period of Middle English period. And then Age of Chaucer, I spoke in the previous video. You all should go and watch that video for more details, wherein the father of English literature, Geoffrey Chaucer, was born. And coming to the Age of Revival, now I would be focusing upon Elizabethan age with relevant or related to Age of Revival, because during the Elizabethan age, Renaissance came to England. And this Renaissance, where it started, it started in Italy, and major parts of Europe it spread from Italy, and it started in Italy during 14th century. But when it came to England during mid 14th century or early 15th century. And this Renaissance, what is the meaning of Renaissance? Renaissance means revival of learning or rebirth of learning. Now you all will ask me, or you all will doubt which kind of learning. Now learning of those kind or those eras or those time when Greek and Roman literature has reached their epic or epitome, or they have reached their apex point. Now what happened in the Renaissance? In the Renaissance period, people started to learn art, architecture, music, literature also. Now coming to literature point of view, the greatest writer or the greatest sonneteer, that is Giacomo di Lentini, in the 14th century during the emperor of Sicily. In his court, Giacomo di Lentini, he invented the sonnet. But Francesco Petrarch from Italy, he used this sonnet form and he wrote so many love sonnets to his beloved. And these sonnets were brought to England by two great poets. That is, first and the foremost is Henry Howard, who was the Earl of Surrey, and second is his contemporary, that is Sir Thomas Watt, who they both brought the Petrarchan form of sonnet to England, and they changed the sonnet form in the English form. To read or to learn more about this sonnet form, you can go and watch my sonnet in English literature video. In that video, you will get everything which is related to sonnet. Now, coming to the next point, that what has happened in England during the Renaissance period when Queen Elizabeth was ruling England. Now, when Queen Elizabeth sat on the throne, that is 1558, this was the period exactly when we can say the England saw the politically stable kind of we can say everything which was chaos, wherein there were so many wars which happened previously. I spoke in the previous video that during the Middle English period there were wars between House of York and House of Plantagenet for the throne of France. And not only the throne of France, but they also want the rule of Scotland and Ireland also. So there were so many wars which came in the 13th century and 14th century, and the 14th century or the late 13th century, England has witnessed the bubonic plague and Black Death also, as well as famine. People have suffered very much due to the famine, and England has lost 1/4 or more than that of population due to the bubonic plague and famines. So during the Elizabethan era, what has happened actually is people were happy, and why people were happy? Because politically, Britain was very much stable. And why Britain was politically stable? Because this was the period when exploration started. Now, exploration means people started traveling from Europe to every other part of the world. To give you one example, Christopher Columbus, he started sailing and he went on traveling. He was about to come to India, or earlier it was also called as the West Indies, but fortunately he went to the western part and he found Newfoundland, which is at present called as the United States of America, in the year 1496. That is the period when Christopher Columbus, he found out the Newfoundland, that is United States. And after that, Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, and every major British or European countries, they started exploring the world. They started conquering, or they started ruling the world, and due to this, what has happened is they accumulated wealth, and hence in the Elizabethan era, people were very much happy. And during this age, now if I talk about the literary movement or literary things that has happened in the Elizabethan age, the first and the foremost thing I should talk about is the dramas which were written in this period. The famous dramas written by William Shakespeare. He was born on 23rd of April 1564, and he died in 1616. No doubt he was the great dramatist, and he wrote 37 plays in his lifetime, as well as 154 sonnets he has penned down to his beloved as well as his best friend Mr. W.H. And those other sonnets were dedicated to a black lady. Now, apart from William Shakespeare, there was Christopher Marlowe, as well as before or during this period when William Shakespeare was writing down the dramas, there were some 7 great writers who wrote down dramas also and poems also. They are also called as the university wits. Now, these writers are called university wits because they were from the two most renowned universities in Britain, that is Oxford University and Cambridge University. To name them, that is John Lilly, Thomas Nash, Thomas Lodge, Thomas Kidd, George Peele and Robert Greene and Christopher Marlowe. These people, they come into the university wits, and they are the contemporary to the people, or we can say they are the contemporary to William Shakespeare. So this was the literary background, and apart from this, what was happening in the Elizabethan age or before Elizabethan age is there was so much chaos. As right now I told you, there were so many problems in the United Kingdom: bubonic plague, famines and wars. And not only wars, apart from their mother country, there were wars happening in their own country. War of the Roses, if I speak, you must go and watch my previous video, that is the Age of Chaucer and Middle English period. I spoke in that they were fighting for the throne. These houses, that is House of York and House of Lancaster, they were fighting together in their own motherland. So in this period, that is Elizabethan age, people were not fighting, they were happy and they were happily living, and they were cherishing the movement. They were cherishing the movement or moments or the years when Queen Elizabeth was ruling. And Queen Elizabeth is also called as the Virgin Queen because she never married. And because she never married, her major focus was upon the upliftment of the country, and she dedicated her life for the betterment of the country. She worked a lot socially, politically, economically, building the nation and taking it to the height, that is reaching to the golden period or golden mark. So this was the political background. And to speak about the literary background, there are so many things which has happened. Right now I told you that William Shakespeare was born on 23rd of April 1564, and before William Shakespeare was born, 2 months prior to William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe was also born. He is also called as the we can say most we can say famous writer apart from William Shakespeare. But before Shakespeare, there were writers such as Edmund Spenser, Sir Philip Sidney, Sir Thomas Watt, Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey. These were the writers who have gained the identity, or who became famous because of their sonnets. We can say Edmund Spenser, he not only wrote sonnets, but he also wrote Shepherd's Calendar, wherein he focused basically upon the life of shepherds who usually take their sheep, cattle and goats to grazing in the forest area, and they sit there and they sing some songs which is called as the pastorals, and they focused upon this kind of life wherein apart from the things which is happening in the urban cities or urban areas such as London, which was the hub of learning and everything. But apart from this, Edmund Spenser, he focused upon pastoral and the life of shepherds. And Sir Philip Sidney, he not only wrote we can say Edmund Spenser, he has also written the Fairy Queen, wherein he basically talked about highlights or the major things which the Queen Elizabeth did. And the most important thing of the Elizabethan age is the dramas which were written in this era or in this age became so much famous that people loved it. And in English language, the dramas which were written by William Shakespeare and the words which were used in those plays that were inculcated or that were added in the English language. So that much important author William Shakespeare was. And to talk about the next era, that is the preceding era, I told you that is the Tudor period. This era is also called as the Renaissance, the Shakespearean age, and it is also called as the Elizabethan Age. And the next period which I am going to talk about is the Jacobean era. So to watch that video, you have to subscribe to my channel, and you should share this video as much as possible so that your classmate and your friends should get the idea about the Elizabethan Age. So I think you all have witnessed what were the different things that has happened in the Elizabethan era, and she ruled from 1558 to 1603. So thank you very much, everyone. Keep sharing and keep watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.